outside and go and get some water. I found a really good little lake right here. As soon as I get down in here. Alright, let me get some water. Got my foot wet. Usually when I get water out of a lake like that, if I don't boil it, which I don't really have time to do today, what I'll do is I'll use these water purification tablets. I gotta put 2 of these in there for a quart. Put them 2 tablets in there like that. So I'm gonna replace the cotton in the bottle and the seal. And make sure nothing can get in there. And in the canteen, you just loosely cap it. Well, what I do is I'll cap it. I'll shake it really good for several minutes. Yeah, you gotta shake it really good. You gotta completely dissolve those 2 little tablets. And then you just leave it loosely capped so that it can breathe, because it'll build up some pressure. And in about 15 minutes, I can drink that. It's starting to rain a little bit. I'm gonna walk away from the lake and get up into these trees. I noticed there's some seed pods here. No. They're all empty. Those are huckleberry seeds. They're all empty. It started raining really hard there for a minute. I thought I was going to have to stop and set up a shelter. But it looks like it might quit. I hope it does, because I need to keep going today. I don't want to have to stop. I got a long way to go. Rain like this could foul me up. It's continuing to rain a little bit, so I set up this little rain fly to kind of keep the rain from falling on me. I'm going to sit up underneath of this for a while until it quits. I need to put up really nothing elaborate, just a little tarp like this tied in between a few branches and keep it dry long enough for the rain to go away. We'll wait and see. Alright, it stopped raining, so I'm going to take this down and maybe try to press on a little bit. Maybe I can get further down the trail before it rains again. Well, it started raining again, so I had to set up my shelter again. I'm in a little bit better place. I'm up under some trees that are helping disperse the water a little bit. I put my tarp back up. All there is to do now is just sit here and wait out the rain. Yeah, I got a few of those grasshoppers left. Maybe I'll eat a few of those while I'm just sitting here. Take time to eat something. I'm probably going to need the energy later when it stops raining. I know the first thing I'm going to do is have a drink of this lake water. Those iodine tablets make it safe to drink. You don't have to worry about it at all. Yeah, a lot of times it goes like that. It'll just rain for a little while, just enough to get you soaked, and then it quits. Huh? You just have to learn ways to bear with that. Having a little tarp like I've got, I can set it up in 2 or 3 minutes. You really don't get that wet. Then you get up under it until it quits raining, and then that's all right. It's a pretty good way to doing it. There's sort of great big fish hit the surface of the lake over there. I didn't expect to encounter this lake, but it was a pleasant surprise. I was able to use it to get water. I needed to get water. That worked out real good. This is a very different place than that chain of ponds that I was at a couple days ago. You don't have all the grasshoppers and everything hopping around everywhere. None of those here. You have to find other things to survive on when you're in changing environments like this. And some of these places can span for miles or just a few hundred yards maybe. Alright, I've decided to stop and build a shelter. I'm going to stay here today. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this branch right here. That tree that's been fallen over and broken off. I'm going to use it as part of it. I'm going to build a little bit of a frame onto it and cover it up with some pine boughs or something like that to dry it in a little bit. And I'm going to use that as a shelter to stay in. I might build a little fire here and try to dry my clothes off a little bit because I'm wet. But before I try to dry off, I'm going to handle all this wet material and try to get a shelter built. I found something that'll suit my needs. Getting a little bit better than that. Found this pine tree. It's falling down right there near the edge of the lake. I'll cut a couple of the branches off of it and I'll cover it over on both sides and I'll make a shelter out of that. That'll be real good. So that's what I'm going to do. all that stuff out of the way. And I'm ready for the next step. And what I'm going to do next is lean some boughs up on the back side. And I'm going to cover it with pine limbs and palmettos and pine straw and whatever else I can. A nice thick coating so that rain doesn't get through it. It's got to be about 10 inches thick. So that's going to be a little bit of work. But what I need to do now is just grab some limbs and put them on there, and some pine boughs. There's a downed tree real close to here. I'm gonna go get the stuff from it. Alright, I'm back with my first load of limbs. I'm gonna go over there and put them on, and then I'll get ready to finish my shelter. And it wasn't quite enough, so I got to go get some more. So now to help support a roof on my shelter, I'll have to run some more branches running the opposite direction. And I got a few over there. I'm going to throw them on, and then I can start covering it with a material that's going to keep the rain out. Alright, now I'm ready to start covering it up with something better. Just by picking up the thick mat of pine needles that are on the ground, I'm able to cover my shelter up with a 10-inch or more thick covering, and it'll keep the rain out, it'll keep wind out. It'll make a good shelter in case it keeps raining. There's still a lot of dark clouds in the sky, and I don't know how long this rain is going to last. It was windy yesterday, so I knew there was a front coming in. So I think I better build a shelter and get ready for some more rain, and maybe if it doesn't rain, I'll be able to gather some more food. So that's what I'm going to try to do. And all you do is just gather the pine straw up and put it on there, and make sure there's no gaps in between it. It's all going to be nice and tight, and it'll make a nice waterproof food. I'll go around to the backside and finish the backside, and that'll be it. And then, finally, I'm going to add my tarp onto the front of it and just tie it so that it comes down like this. And that way I can sleep half under the tarp and half under that, and I'll be sure to stay dry. And I got to gather a bunch of grass or something to put down on the ground. I don't want to sleep directly on the ground. I'll put some more branches down on the floor and cover it with grass, and that'll finish my my shelter. So basically all I got to do is just tie the ends of the cover sheet off and stretch them out so that it makes a cover, and then I'll have a completed shelter. Another tie. And then when it's all done, I've got a nice shelter to get inside of. See? Yeah. Just cover it over real nice like that. That'll make a good shelter. And just to kind of get a look from the inside, yeah, it's going to be pretty comfortable. Yeah, I can get right up under here and be safe from the rain and the wind. Alright. And the sun's decided to come out, so I may try to go find some food. Alright, that didn't take too long. This little stringer of grasshoppers. And a few cactus fruits that I'm going to roast over a fire here in just a minute. It only took me about half an hour to gather that stuff up. So, that's not bad. And I can throw in a few of these yellow flowers, and I'll have a complete meal. So yeah, what I need to do next is build a fire. I think instead of using wood or whatever, since I'm only roasting a couple little grasshoppers and some cactus, I'm going to use this deer moss right here. It makes a really good fuel. It's nice and dry, and I don't have to worry about gathering up wood. Alright, so let's get a pile of this together. I'm going to use that to cook over. But I'm going to make a little spit first. I'm going to get a couple branches and shove them down into the ground right there. And I've got my grasshoppers tied up to a piece of wire. Well, strung on a piece of wire. And I'll just tie that wire in between the two stakes and let them hang there and roast right above the heat. Alright, now all I do is I just wrap the wire around my spit. Make sure it won't come loose too easily. And then so you just got your food hanging over the fire right there. All I gotta do is light it. And my cactus fruits, I don't want to put them right directly in the fire because they'll get charred and they'll get too cooked, too hot. My stick will burn in half. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lean it up next to one of the spit sticks and position it close enough to the fire where they cook without putting it directly in the flame. There should be no problem with that. Alright, I don't have a lighter, but what I do have is a pocket knife and a magnesium flint stick that I always keep on my keychain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little piece of this cotton and I'm going to strike the flint on this cotton, and I'm going to light the moss on fire with that. This really isn't a difficult thing because the cotton burns at such a low temperature. The flint should catch it right on fire, just like that. Woohoo! Alright. Yep, that's all there is to it. Just light it just like that. Position the flame under my food. Set these near so they cook. And just burning this old deer moss. It's a good way to get it started. There's plenty of pine right here. I can use a little bit of these pine twigs. But mainly all I'm going to burn is the deer moss. Just a pretty simple little thing right there. Try to get these going in there. Position them close enough to the heat where they cook. And some grasshoppers can have parasites, so it's really important to cook them completely well, I always let them cook for about 10 minutes. Make sure that they're absolutely done. You don't want to burn them black, crunchy, or nothing like that. You just want to cook them and keep them good and hot for about 10 minutes. That way, if there is any kind of parasites or bacteria or anything on them like that, and when the fire does go out and stuff's almost done, you can lay them right on the grill. You can hear them still sizzling up real nice right there. And those are going to be really good. All you got to do is take the seeds out of them. Alright, just turned out to be a good meal. Okay, well, my grasshoppers and my cactus roots cool off a little bit. They're extremely hot right now. Alright, my cotton and my flint stick worked out wonderful. So, I'm gonna eat this handful of flowers first. Oh, them are good. No, they don't taste bad. Neither do these. Nice little grasshoppers right there. See? Nice grasshopper, just boy, them are good. Done just right. After not eating for a day or two, this tastes really good. See the seeds? Yeah. You can't eat those. They're like stones. They're like peach pits. They're just stony, hard seeds. You can't. Make sure I get all of them out of there. And when you're done cooking them, you see it kind of looks like a green bell pepper. They don't really taste like green peppers, but now this is a mountain view. What do you think about that? Yeah, Trapper Jack's home again. I like to turn my fire pits into a monument. The crabs, another crab. Oh, look at that crab. Scorpions. Hermit crabs. Yeah, that's a nice one. And this tabletop right here. That's another crab too. Yeah. There's my cook stove for my bracket funguses. Yeah, stone monument. And the scorpions with the crossed arms are my favorite. Yeah, I took my shoes off. River crossings can be dangerous, but this one happens to be shallow enough right here where I can walk across. Boy, this water's cold. Right. What I found here. Crayfish claw. Even a shallow river can have fast water and it makes them difficult to cross. So you have to really be careful. I don't withhold myself to any single constraint. Modern survival or primitive survival, it's all the same technology. I make use of both. Surviving here in the Smoky Mountains, you have to be resourceful and accurate in everything you do. Now see me when I turn in, I'm going to take these hot rocks that have been baking by the fire. I'm going to put them inside my shelter. And it'll keep my my shelter warm for several hours tonight. And you see it's a quite large stone. It'll work perfect. I'll put this stone back in the fire pit. Thanks, hot rock. Last night I started out with this hot rock, and then I went to that one. I used both of them. When this one got cold, I changed it and put that one in my shelter. A good little stove right here. 2 bracket wicks, 3 stones, some oil. Let's make some pancakes. How about French fries? Oh yeah, that's gonna be good. And when the bubbles pop to stay open, then you flip them. Boy, look at that. Yum. If you need oil to cook with, use the skin of a trout. It's got a thick layer of fat right next to the skin. See, cooking over wood leaves a crusty, gnarly tar all over your pots and pans. Like this crunchy tar on my coffee pot. It leaves the surface feeling like sandpaper. And cooking over vegetable oil just leaves a soot on your pots and pans and doesn't leave a crunchy, chunky tar-like substance coating your pans. This will be easy to clean up where that coffee pot is nearly impossible. Alright, set up a heater that burns oil inside of a shelter. First, you need a good solid base. Stable, doesn't rock around. Shim up before you have to. Make sure that your oil vessel is leveled as well as it can be. I light a small wick to heat my stone with for long-term heating. A candle wick will be sufficient to heat the stone that you put on top. Okay, see, I use a nice thick stone. Something that'll take a candle flame without cracking. A thin stone will overheat quickly and break. A thick stone will take the heat without cracking quite so easily, although they will break down over time. And just overnight, this one will last well as I'd like it to. See, little candle flame underneath. And in about an hour, this stone will become nice and warm, and it'll radiate heat, and it'll put out enough warmth to heat my shelter tonight in the freezing temperatures that we're about to get. In a well-ventilated shelter like this, you won't have to worry about carbon monoxide poisoning. Now, these bracket fungus wicks will burn for 15 hours or more. And sometimes you may have to replace the wick in your stove, but if you do, you just cut another wick and replace it. That's all you got to do. And at last, 14 hours later, when the oil's almost gone, look what happens. When this cools off enough to touch, I'll carry it out of here. There's nothing like the quiet and solitude of a mountainside. These rolling mountain prairies. are some of the nicest places to go. Yeah, that's spectacular. Wild animals like these free-ranging ponies are a common sight here also. Oh, look at that, huh? Beautiful. And one of the best survival foods out here in the Smoky Mountains is the rainbow trout and the speckled brown trout the rivers are so full of. Oh yeah, that's going to be good. Well, I'm hungry. I'm going to go eat some fish. See you next time. Yeah. Now this time of year, up here where I live, everybody wears these snowproof duck boots. Yeah, insulated. Yeah. And don't forget the feather down filled coat. So my next few videos are going to be about how to survive in the wilderness in snow and in the cold weather. And one of the main tools I use in winter weather survival are hot rocks, like these two black stones right here. I normally carry those with me in my pack. Or if I don't carry them, these aren't really too hard to find. And stones of this size, maybe not black stones, but other stones of this size are pretty easy to find pretty much anywhere. Of course, let's not forget my bracket fungus. I use these for wicks. For oil wicks to burn oil with to heat my hot rocks. So if you have those three things in your pocket and it's cold outside, well, and you have a way to get warm anywhere. I always have loved the look of fresh snow on the trees, and nothing like it. And food's not ever really a problem in the wintertime up here in the north. You see, like this plant right here, it's called wintercress. Like a dandelion-like plant, and it'll stay green just like that underneath the snow, and it'll even take sub-zero temperatures and survive it. So they always just kind of linger around. You can always find these in the wintertime. And it's a potherb like dandelions. And what I really need to do is find a basswood tree where I can get thorns like this basswood thorn here. And you can see this one's much larger than my hand. It's going to make perfect hunting weapons for me. But if I'm going to make enough of them to last in the winter, I've got to find a basswood tree. That's one thing about me in the wintertime. The woods is a lot more open because all the leaves are off the trees. Everything's all frozen and everything. And it seems like I always tend to wander farther in the wintertime than I do any other time of the year. And when I'm gathering stuff like those basswood thorns and finding them, sometimes I get carried away. Reeling your fish, Tatiana.
I got one.
You got one.
I got him. Hi, fish.
You caught one.
I caught one.
Good girl.
I gotta get him. I want to hold him.
All right, hold on. Let's get him off the hook.
Okay.
Here, we'll put him on a little branch stringer. See, look. Take the branch.
Uh-huh.
Put it through there.
Fish.
Hold on. Uh-oh, come here. Make sure he doesn't flop out of your hands.
Okay.
So you got to run it out of his mouth. It's got to go out of his mouth. See? Run the stick through there.
Yes. Come look at the fish. I gotta hold you. I gotta hold you.
You see, honey? That branch makes a nice little stringer. See? Tatiana's second fish. Show everybody. Show us your fish. Now that's amazing. Good job. Is that a good one?
Yes, that's a good one.
All right. Okay, you gonna lead the way out? Go on.
What on foot? What on foot? What on hook? What on hook? Mommy. Go in the cage.
Me lost in the woods in the wintertime isn't no big deal. But in those instances when you have a small child with you, out fishing or whatever, and you get lost in the woods, and it's winter time and there's snow all over the ground, you're lost out there, and that's a very, very serious situation. And I intend to address a few of those issues this winter with some of my upcoming videos, and I hope that everybody watches it. See those leaves right there? Get it better. Follow the stem all the way to the ground. You can see the leaves grow in segments. A segment right there, a segment right there, a segment right there, so on and so forth, all the way down to the ground. And the roots are down in there, so I'm going to dig some of those up. And also, growing right next to it is some stinging nettle. Yeah, middle of February, there's stinging nettle growing right there. And that's a real good food too. I'm going to pick that and I'm going to eat it. It has to be cooked first, of course, but I'm going to get that. But I'm going to dig up these Jerusalem artichokes. And the ground right now isn't really too bad frozen, so I should just be able to dig around and say, look, there's one right there. Yeah, we're going to dig up a handful. And try to rinse them off a little bit, and I'll show you what they look like. Set these aside right there. There we go. See, there we go. There's a good view of them right there. That. Nice red roots. Yeah, I'm kind of thirsty, so I'm going to get some water out of this mud puddle right here. It's just a depression in one of the pudding stones here, a nice flat spot. There's a good drink of water. I'm going to get some of it. water to rinse some roots off with. And then I'm going to go back to the cave and see what I can do with it. Alright, these are what the Jerusalem artichokes look like. Once you get them up out of the ground and wash them off. Various shapes. Very distinctive. They very much resemble a red russet potato. And they taste a lot like a potato. A little more earthy though, but they're really, really good. I'm glad I found these. That's going to be a good meal. This is stinging nettle. And of course the stinging nettle is good for making porridge out of when they get older. But these young tender plants like this, which I'm surprised I found them today. But these young tender plants, you just double boil them and eat them like a pot herb, and they're really, really good. They're kind of like spinach. So, yeah, excellent. Stinging nettles like that. Just about every case where I've found them out in the wild, where I found Jerusalem artichokes, I've also found stinging nettle growing right together as a colony. They kind of coexist with each other. So those are likely places to look is for the stinging nettle patches. Of course, you can see the remnants of those a lot easier than sometimes than you can the Jerusalem artichokes. But if you closely inspect the whole patch, you'll find the stems of the Jerusalem artichokes coming up out of it. So that's a useful tip. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Look what I found. A couple earthworms. Yep. 3 or 4 of these earthworms has more protein in them than a quarter-pound hamburger. So, just that. That rain didn't last too long. I was just out walking around. I found some wild mushrooms growing on this oak tree branch here. They're called leaf jellies. See a little mushroom right there? Pick it off of there. See how they kind of wriggle like jelly? They look like leaves almost. These are really good. There's a bunch of them. This branch is covered with them. So I'll go ahead and gather some of these too. This is an excellent food source here. Yeah, there's a nice one right there. Look at that. Yep, good food. That's all there is on that branch. But still, that's a fairly good sized handful of them right there though, see? Got all flooded out yesterday. We had about 4 inches of snow come in and then 2 inches of rain, and it just rained really, really hard all day yesterday. And, I almost threw in the towel and gave up, but today's a whole different day. It's sunny today, it's nice. And I've walked further up the mountain, and I got a little bit of a shelter that I started working on here. This is probably where I'm going to stay tonight. Check it out. Just an old knocked over tree, and I'm going to give you a view of the inside of it. I'm just leaning some boughs up. You can see outside of it some branches, and I'm going to put some boughs up against it and close it up. I'll crawl right up inside there and sleep tonight. Really not much sense in building a big fire or whatever. It's not really that cold. It's going to be in the 20s tonight. I'll build a fire for light or whatever, but I'm not going to worry about using it for heat. So, I managed to, most of the day, got wet and all that. It was kind of bad. But, today's a whole different day. Nice and sunny. Out here in this kind of forest, for food, things you could expect to find are things like acorns, hickory nuts, walnuts, pine cone seeds, pine tree root bark that has been roasted and ground up. Eat that. Unless you find a clearing where there's a lot of good weeds and stuff like that, and sometimes along the creeks where the woods open up a little bit, you can find the various edible weeds like winter grass, various mustards that grow here, burdock, Docus carota, Queen Anne's lace, and a lot of stuff like that. In the deep woods, the boreal woods like this is, if you're hungry and you're looking for food, you need to think about nuts, tree nuts, and acorns are really good food, and they even taste salty. They're a good source of salt. When you cook them and dry them out and roast them, they're really salty. I decided it just wasn't right. It just wasn't what I wanted. Yeah, it just wasn't what I wanted. So I'm climbing further up this mountain right here. See if I can find some, look for a suitable campsite. And actually I have to go across this, it's not a real big mountain, it's a small hill really, but everybody calls it this. Water right here. That's good. Flat. Got some good rocks to build me a little fire on top of. I can lay on top of the rock and stay warm if I need to. And but right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare something that I've been carrying with me ever since the beginning, and I haven't opened it yet. But what I got here is this little piece of bamboo or cane. Cane. It's closed on one end, and the other end, I drilled a hole out of it and plugged it with a piece of birch bark, and then I sealed it with pine pitch, and I got seeds in there. It's like a little nature's mason jar, and what I did is I took some wild cucumber seeds and roasted them until they were dry, and put them in here and sealed them up. I've had this at home for about 2 years now, and I'm going to open it and grind some of these seeds up and eat them. So all you got to do is just break the seal. You see the pine sap coming off of there. Just regular old pine sap, piece of bark there. See, here, look at this. See, those are wild cucumber seeds, and they're really kind of hard. They're almost too hard to just put in your mouth and chew once you've roasted them like that. But what I've got is a little wooden pestle that I made out of this is a burl, wood burl off of a poplar tree, and all I do is put my seeds in there, and I always need one of these every time I go out. I need one of these, so I just got into the habit of bringing one with me whenever I come. And that's how to grind up all your stuff, your root barks and your nuts and all that. You just get you can use a flat rock. You can use 2 stones. You can put it on a flat rock and grind it like that. But that can get grit. You know, you can get a little bit of grit. You get stone dust in your mouth or whatever. And that's not too appealing when you're chewing on it. But if you use wood doesn't put anything dust off of the wood. You're just eating wood dust, so it doesn't hurt you. A lot better than eating stone dust. So that's why I use wood. Yeah, I'm hungry. I'm gonna eat.